Pretty Sweden here. I'm currently in Norway, up in the mountains here. It's quite cold at the moment. It's actually minus 10 degrees Celsius, so apologies if it looks like I'm freezing, because I am freezing a bit. Now, there's been a horrible case of a gang rape in Sweden, in the Swedish no-go zone Fittja, where a woman was brutally gang raped by 20 men in an apartment staircase. Now, some of the details here are quite horrible, so a little bit of a warning if you are the sensitive type. So the woman says that they took her up to the second floor, where there were all of the men waiting with their pants down, waiting their turn to rape her. And she says that one of the most horrible moments of the rape was when she was positioned on the stairs so that one person sodomized her from behind, while another guy put his thing in her mouth. Now, this brutal gang rape took place for 4 whole hours. Can you imagine such evil hatred someone has to have to be able to do such a thing? Now, they smashed her head into the stairs. She passed out several times. They threatened her with a knife. According to doctors, she had quite a few injuries on herself. And I mean, it was just a brutal, grotesque, horrible thing to happen. I mean, just imagine, this woman's life must be completely destroyed after this. I mean, just imagine how she must feel. Now, what happened after the gang rape? Well, after she had endured this for 4 hours, she asked passers-by for help. No, she didn't get any help. In fact, quite opposite. When she asked passers-by for help after she had been raped, they refused to help her, and they told her that she was, quote, disgusting, and they left her on the ground with sperm all over her face, and they refused to help her. One person who has lived in the no-go zone Fittja for 15 years said that he didn't do anything to help her because he knew, quote, he knew how things work in this area. So I guess you can kind of understand what he means by that. He was afraid to help her because he knew kind of the consequences if he did. And you know, that's what happens in these areas where these criminal gangs control entire areas. You know, it's almost impossible to stop this kind of thing. So, well, she was brutally gang raped for 4 hours. People, passers-by, refused to help her. They said that she was disgusting and left her on the ground with sperm in her face, so she had to take herself to the hospital herself. She even asked the security guard for help, but he refused to help her as well. So she had to get herself to the hospital all by herself and sort herself out. No help to be received in Sweden in 2017 when a woman was raped. So then you probably ask yourself, well, these guys that did this gang rape, well, obviously they must get a huge sentence from the court then, at least. That's at least the thing. That's the very least that's the very least of justice that this woman can receive. You're wrong there. This is Sweden. So let me go through with you what has happened. The police managed to track down 5 of the 20 guys who took part in this gang rape. Now, all of the 5 men that were arrested by police for this gang rape, all of them were migrants, amongst others from Iraq and Somalia. All 5 guys have now been found free, have been freed by the court. Let us sink in for a minute. This is despite all of the overwhelming evidence, because this has actually got filmed on camera. So there's video evidence of these guys doing the attack. There's also DNA evidence, because there was sperm all over the woman, and they managed to track down the DNA. And the court actually said there was no doubt that this woman had sex with this man. So there was no doubt about that. There was video evidence, DNA evidence, everything. But the guys were freed. They were released. They were found not guilty. Why, you ask? Because the men who gang raped the woman claimed that this gang rape was actually voluntary. It was actually a payment for a drug deal. You see, these guys sell drugs. Not only they gang rape this woman, they actually sell drugs. They claim that they actually sold drugs to this woman and that the gang rape was a payment. It was a voluntary payment for the drugs that she wanted. So clearly that kind of indicates you very quickly that these guys are criminals. They are this very likely part of this criminal gang in this no-go zone that runs these no-go zones. So they claim that this gang rape was a payment the woman made for the drugs, and the court actually went with it and found the man not guilty, completely freed. I mean, I have a question here. Okay, even if the court would be so stupid enough to go along with this story, why on earth aren't they put in prison for selling drugs and buying sex? Because that's illegal. At least I should have gone to prison for that. Never mind the gang rape, which I should have also gotten to prison for, but no, nothing at all. Completely freed, completely set free. I mean, what kind of country is this? Now the woman's lawyer, Elisabeth Massi Fritz, says that, quote, "This is a shame for our justice system." And she also says that this is the worst gang rape case that she has dealt with in 26 years. And the man is completely set free. Apologies there, guys. It's so cold out here. As I said, it's -10 up here in the mountains here in Norway, that the battery on my camera went a lot quicker than I expected. So I have to do the last recording here on my phone. But I was almost finished with the video. So as I was saying, this is Sweden in 2017. We're in a no-go zone. These criminal gangs can gang rape a woman for 4 hours. They deal with drugs. And they're completely set free by the Swedish court. Oh, and they all also happen to be migrants, all of them. So this is Sweden in 2017. I can also add that after this court ruling came that the men were released, quite a few women held protests in support of a woman that was gang raped. They actually went to this no-go zone Fittja where the woman was raped, and they had a protest. What happened? Well, these guys that had just been released turned up and arrested the women that were protesting. One guy even told them that he was there when the gang rape happened, and now we are free. Ha 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 ha. They told it right to the faces of these women that were protesting against them having been released.
Det är domaren ni ska protestera mot, inte mot oss. Hem och gråt! Det är bara gå hem och gråta! Kvinnan är en knarkare som behöver knark!
And this all happened in the no-go zone where the attack happened in the first place. Now, things seem to be changing a bit in Sweden though, because there's actually been a petition in support of this woman, and it's actually raised 100,000 signatures last time I checked, and people also have raised quite a significant sum of money for the woman as well to help support her. So things seem to be changing a bit in Sweden now. And so what do you think, guys, of this? Make sure to leave a comment below, guys, what you think, because this is an insane case. Leave a like if you like. Well, it's a bit hard to leave a like for content for something like this that happened, but leave a like for my reporting, because I'm doing honest reporting here on what's happening, guys. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. Make sure to hit the notification bell as well, so you don't miss whenever a new video comes out. Then you will get a notification whenever I post a new video. So make sure to hit the bell as well. And thank you so much for watching, guys. Follow me on Twitter as well, @PeterSweden7. And if you want to support my work financially at all, I'll leave my link to PayPal and Patreon in the description below. Anything is highly appreciated, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Now a big shout out to all my Patreon supporters. It's not cheap to do independent journalism like I am doing, and as many of us know by now, the mainstream media are not up to the job. They have a biased agenda that they are pushing to try and brainwash people. So it's incredibly important that independent journalists like me and others hold them to account and report the real truth about what's happening in the world. Information and knowledge is power. So if you haven't already supported me, please consider supporting me on Patreon or PayPal. I will leave the links in the description below. Anything is highly appreciated and helps me keep beating the mainstream media. As a way to say thank you to my great supporters, everyone who supports me with $10 or more on Patreon will get credited in my videos. I have now over 2 million views on YouTube, so who knows, you might get a chance to become famous. Of course, if you want to stay anonymous and not be credited, that's also of course completely fine. But today's shoutout goes to my wonderful supporters.